in effect, boarding a stone boat, and so too are those who blindly follow them. A stone boat would be unable to float and would sink in the water with its passengers. Similarly, those who mislead people go to hell, and their followers go with them. Whoa. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated in the Vedic literature, Bhagavatam 11.20.17, Nri Deham Adyam Sulabam Sudur Labam Plav Plavam uh, Sukalpam Guru Karna Dharam. We, the conditioned souls, have fallen in the ocean of nescience, but the human body fortunately provides us a good opportunity to cross the ocean because the human body is like a very good boat. When directed by a spiritual master acting as the captain, the boat can very easily cross the ocean. Furthermore, the boat is helped across by favorable winds, which are the instructions of Vedic knowledge. If one does not take advantage of all these facilities to cross the ocean of nescience or ignorance, he is certainly committing suicide. One who boards a boat made of stone is doomed to be elevated to the stage of perfection. Is doomed. Humanity must first give up false leaders who present boats of stone. All of human society is such a dangerous position that to be rescued, it must abide by the standard instructions of the Vedas. The cream of these instructions appears in the form of Bhagavad Gita. One should not take shelter of any other instructions. Okay, that's good news. For Bhagavad Gita gives direct instructions on how to fulfill the aim of human life. Lord Shri Krishna therefore says, Sarvadharma Prityaja Mamekam Saranam Braja. Give up all other processes of religion and simply surrender to me. Even if one does not accept Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his instructions are so exalted and beneficial for humanity that if one follows his instructions, one will be saved. Otherwise, one will be cheated by unauthorized meditation and gymnastic methods of yoga. Thus, one will board a boat of stone, which will sink and drown all its passengers. Unfortunately, although the American people are extremely eager to get out of the materialistic chaos, they are sometimes found to patronize the makers of stone boats. That will not help them. They must take the proper boat offered by Krishna in the form of the Krishna consciousness movement. Then they will be easily saved. In this regard, Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura comments, Asman Maya Plavo Yesam Te Yata Majanatam. Plavam Anu Majjanti Tate Ta Te Ete Raja Niti Upadas Restru Swa Subyesu Kopo Vijanita. If society is guided by political diplomacy, with one nation maneuvering against another, it will certainly sink like a stone boat. Political maneuvering and diplomacy will not save human society. People must take to Krishna consciousness to understand the aim of life, to understand God, and to fulfill the human mission. Very nice. Okay. Text 15. King Indra said, therefore, with great frankness and without diplomacy, and without duplicity, I shall now bow my head at the lotus feet of Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, because he is in the mode of goodness. He is fully aware of all knowledge and is the best of the Brahmanas. Now I shall touch his lotus feet and offer my obeisances unto him to try to satisfy him. So Indra is going to surrender. Okay. Purport. Coming to his senses, King Indra realized that he was not a very sincere disciple of his spiritual master, Brihaspati. Therefore, he decided that henceforth he would be Nisata, non-duplicitous. Nisata Sirsna Tacharanam Sprisam. He decided to touch his head to the feet of his spiritual master. From this example, we should learn this principle enunciated by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, yasya prasadan nagatir kutopi. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one is benedicted by the mercy of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. A disciple should never be a hypocrite or be unfaithful to the spiritual master. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11.17.27, the spiritual master is also called Acharya, Acharyam Mom Vijanayan. The spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead says that one should respect the spiritual master, accepting him as the Lord himself. Navaman yita karichit. One should not disrespect the Acharya at any time. Na marka budya suyate. One should never think the Acharya as never think the Acharya an ordinary person. Familiarity sometimes breeds contempt, but one should be very careful in one's dealing with the Acharya. Agada Dishsanam Dvijam. The Acharya is a perfect Brahmana and has unlimited intelligence in guiding the activities of his disciples. Therefore, Krishna advises in Bhagavad Gita 4.34, Tad vidi pranipatena pranipasnena sevaya, upadekshane te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshana. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. One should fully surrender unto the spiritual master, and with service, seva, one should approach him for further spiritual enlightenment. Hare Krishna. Mhm. Text number 16. While Indra, the king of the demigods, thought in this way and repented in his own assembly, Brihaspati, the most powerful spiritual master, understood his mind. Thus he became invisible to Indra and left home. For Brihaspati was spiritually more powerful than King Indra. Okay, this is interesting. Why did he leave? Text 17. Second. Although Indra searched vigorously with the assistance of the other demigods, he could not find Brihaspati. Then Indra thought, alas, my spiritual master has become dissatisfied with me. And now I have no means of achieving good fortune. Although Indra was surrounded by demigods, he could not find peace of mind. Hmm. Oh, what is his mistake?
So he did not respect, right? In the that already happened, Maharaj.
Yeah. Okay.
So as soon as he appears in his assembly, Indra was a little puffed up, and then he didn't offer a seat and respects to his spiritual master.
Good. Text 18. Hearing of the pitiable condition of King Indra, the demons, following the instructions of their guru, Sukracharya, equipped themselves with weapons and declared war against the demigods. See what happens. Text 19. The demigods' heads, thighs, and arms and other parts of their bodies were injured by the sharp arrows of the demons. The demigods, headed by Indra, saw no other course than to immediately approach Lord Brahma with bowed heads for shelter and proper instruction. When the most powerful Lord Brahma saw the demigods coming toward him, their bodies gravely injured by the arrows of the demons, he pacified them by his great causeless mercy and spoke as follows. Text 21. Second. Lord Brahma said, O best of the demigods, unfortunately, because of madness resulting from your material opulence, you fail to receive Brihaspati properly when he came to your assembly, because he is aware of the Supreme Brahman and fully in control of his senses. He is the best of the Brahmanas. Therefore, it is very astonishing that you have acted impudently toward him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Brahma recognized the Brahminical qualifications of Brihaspati, who was the spiritual master of the demigods because of his awareness of the Supreme Brahman. Brihaspati was very much in control of his senses and mind, and therefore he was a most qualified Brahmana. Lord Brahma chastised the demigods for not properly respecting this Brahman, who was their guru. Lord Brahma wanted to impress upon the demigods that one's guru should not be disrespected under any circumstances. When Brihaspati entered the assembly of the demigods, they and their king Indra took him for granted. Since he came every day, they thought they did not need to show him special respect. As it is said, familiarity breeds contempt. Being very much displeased, Brihaspati immediately left Indra's palace. Thus, all the demigods headed by Indra became offenders at the lotus feet of Brihaspati. And Lord Brahma, being aware of this, condemned their neglect. In a song we sing every day, Narottam Dasa Thakura says, Chaksu Dana Dila Ye Janme Janme Prabhu say. The Guru gives spiritual insight to the disciple, and therefore the Guru should be considered his master life after life. Under no circumstances should the Guru be disrespected, but the demigods, being puffed up by their material possessions, were disrespectful to their Guru. Therefore, Shrimad Bhagavatam 11.17.27 advises Acharyam Mam Vijanayan Nava Manyate Karachit Na Martya Buddhyasuyeta. The Acharya should always be offered respectful obeisances. One should never envy the Acharya, considering him an ordinary human being. Very well, very good instruction. Text number 22. Because of your misbehavior toward Brihaspati, you have been defeated by the demons. My dear demigods, since the demons were weak, having been defeated by you several times, how else could you, who were so advanced in opulence, be defeated by them? Now we're going to hear why. The Devas are celebrated for fighting with the Asuras perpetually. In such fights, the Asuras were always defeated. But this time, the demigods were defeated. Why? The reason, as stated here, was that they had offended their spiritual master. Their impudent disrespect of their spiritual master was the cause of their defeat by the demons. As stated in the Shastras, when one disrespects a respectable superior, one loses his longevity and the results of his pious activities, and in this way one is degraded. Text 23. O Indra, your enemies, the demons, were extremely weak because of their disrespect towards Sukracharya. But since they have now worshipped Sukracharya with great devotion, they have again become powerful. By their devotion to Sukracharya, they have increased their strength so much that now they are even able to easily seize my abode from me. Purport. Lord Brahma wanted to point out to the demigods that by the strength of the Guru, one can become most powerful within this world, and by the displeasure of the Guru, one can lose everything. This is confirmed by the song of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Yasha Prasada Bhagavat Prasado, Yasha Prasadam Nakatir Kutopi. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one is benedicted by the mercy of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Although the demons are significant in comparison to Lord Brahma because of the strength of of their guru, they were so powerful that they could even seize Brahmaloka from the Lord Brahma. We therefore pray to the spiritual master. Mukam karoti vachalam pangun langayate chiram. Yat kripa tam aham bande Shri Gurum Dina Taranam. By the mercy of the Guru, even a dumb man can become the greatest orator, and even a lame man can cross the mountains. As advised by Lord Brahma, one should remember this Shastric injunction if one desires success in his life. Very good. Text 24. Because of their firm determination to follow the instructions of Sukracharya, his disciples, the demons, are now unconcerned about the demigods. In fact, kings or others who have determined faith in the mercy of the Brahmanas, cows, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and who always worship these three are always strong in their position. Purport. From the instructions of Lord Brahma, it is understood that everyone should very faithfully worship the Brahmanas, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the cows. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Go Brahmana, Hitayacha. He is always very kind to cows and Brahmanas. Therefore, one who worships Govinda must satisfy him by worshipping the Brahmanas and the cows. If a government worships the Brahmanas, the cows, and Krishna, Govinda, it is never defeated in anywhere. Otherwise, it must always be defeated and condemned everywhere. At the present moment, all over the world, governments have no respect for Brahmanas, cows, and Govinda, and consequently, there are chaotic conditions all over the world. In summary, although the demigods were very powerful and in material opulence, the demons defeated them in battle because the demigods had behaved disrespectfully toward a Brahmana, Brihaspati, who was their spiritual master. Wow. Text 25. O demigods, I instruct you to approach Vishwarupa, the son of Tavasta, and accept him as your guru. He is a pure and very powerful Brahmana, undergoing austerity and penances. Pleased by your worship, he will fulfill your desires, provided that you tolerate his being inclined to side with the demons. Yeah, he was not inimical to the demons. So this is going to be a problem. Let's see what that problem is going to be. Purport. Lord Brahma advised the demigods to accept the son of Twasta as their spiritual master, although he was always inclined toward the benefit of the asuras. Text 26. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, Srila Sukadeva Goswami continued, thus advised by Lord Brahma and relieved of their anxiety, all the demigods went to the sage Vishwarupa, the son of Twasta, My dear king, they embraced him and spoke as follows. The demigod said, Beloved Vishwarupa, may there be all good fortune for you. We, the demigods, have come to you, have come to your ashrama as your guests. Please try to fulfill our desires according to the time, since we are on the level of your parents. Okay. O Brahmanas, the highest duty of a son, even though he has sons of his own, is to serve his parents. And what to speak of a son who is a brahmachari? Text number 29 and 30. The acharya, the spiritual master who teaches all the Vedic knowledge and gives initiation by offering the sacred thread, is the personification of all the Vedas. Similarly, a father personifies Lord Brahma, a brother, King Indra, a mother, the planet Earth, and a sister, Mercy. A guest personifies religious principles. An invited guest personifies the demigod Agni, and all living entities personify Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport: according to the moral instructions of Chanakya Pandita, Atmavat Sarvabhutesu, one should observe all living entities to be on the same level as oneself. This means that no one should be neglected as inferior because Paramatma is seated in everyone's body. Everyone should be respected as a temple of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Wonderful statement. This verse describes the different ways in which one should respect the Guru, a father, a brother, a sister, a guest, and so on. Text 31. Dear son, we have been defeated by our enemies, and therefore we are very much aggrieved. Please mercifully fulfill our desires by relieving our distress through the strength of your austerities. Please fulfill our prayers. Text 32. Since you are completely aware of the Supreme Brahman, you are a perfect Brahmana, and therefore you are the spiritual master of all orders of life. We accept you as our spiritual master and director, so that by the power of your austerity we may easily defeat the enemies who have conquered us. Purport: one must approach a particular type of guru to execute a particular type of duty. Therefore, although Vishwarupa was inferior to the demigods accepted him as their guru to conquer the demons. Okay. Text 33. The demigods continued, do not fear criticism for being younger than us. Such etiquette does not apply in regard to Vedic mantras, except in relationship to Vedic mantras. Seniority is determined by Seniority is determined by age, but one may offer respectful obeisances even to a younger person who is advanced in chanting Vedic mantras. Therefore, although you are junior in relationship to us, you may become our priest without hesitation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is said, Vida not Vyasa Vina. One may be senior without being advanced in age. Even if one is not old, one gains seniority if he is senior in knowledge. There it is. Vishwarupa was junior in relationship to the demigods because he was their nephew. But the demigods wanted to accept him as their priest, and therefore he would have to accept obeisances from them. The demigods explained that this should not be a cause for hesitation. He could become their priest because he was advanced in Vedic knowledge. Similarly, Chanakya Pandita advises, Nichad api uttamam jnanam. One may accept education from a member of the lower social order. The Brahmanas, the members of the most elevated Varna, are teachers, but a person in a lower family, such as a family of Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, or even Sudras, may be accepted as a teacher if he has knowledge. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approved of this when he expressed this opinion before Ramananda Raya. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 8.128. Kiva Viprakiva Nyasi Sudra Keninaya Ye Krishna Tattvavita Se Guru Haya. It does not matter whether one is a Brahmana, Sudra, Grihastha, or Sannyasi. These are all material designations. A spiritually advanced person has nothing to do with such designations. Therefore, if one is advanced in the science of Krishna consciousness, regardless of his position in human society, he may become a spiritual master. Very good advice. Text 34. Sukadeva Goswami continued. When all the demigods requested the great Vishwarupa to be their priest, Vishwarupa, who was advanced in austerities, was very pleased. He replied to them as follows. Sri Vishwarupa said, O demigods, although the acceptance of priesthood is decried as causing the loss of previous acquired Brahminical power, how can someone like me refuse to accept your personal request? You are all exalted commanders of the entire universe. I am your disciple and must take many lessons from you. Therefore, I cannot refuse you. I must agree for my own benefit. The purport. The professions of a qualified Brahmana are Patana, Yajna, 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 Dana, and Pratigraha. The word Yajna and Yajna mean that a Brahmana becomes the priest of the populace for the sake of their elevation. One who accepts the post of spiritual master neutralizes the sinful reactions of the Yajamana, the one on whose behalf he performs yajna. Thus, the results of the pious acts previously performed by the priest or spiritual master are diminished. Therefore, priesthood is not accepted by learned brahmanas. Nevertheless, the greatly learned Brahmana, Vishvarupa, became the priest of the demigods because of his profound respect for them. O exalted governors of various planets, the true Brahmana, who has no material possessions, maintains himself by the profession of accepting Silonchana. In other words, he picks up grains left in the field and on the ground in the wholesale marketplace. I've done that myself also. By this means, householder brahmanas who actually abide by the principles of austerity and penance maintain themselves and their families and perform all necessary pious activities. A brahmana who desires to achieve happiness by gaining wealth through professional priesthood must certainly have a very low mind. How shall I accept such a priesthood? Yeah, exactly right. Purport: a first class Brahmana does not accept any rewards from his disciples or yajamanas. Practicing austerities and penances, instead goes to the agricultural field and collects food grains left by the agricultural lists to be collected by brahmanas. Similarly, such brahmanas go to marketplace where grains are purchased and sold wholesale, and there they collect grains left by the merchants. In this way, such exalted brahmanas uh, maintain their bodies and families. Such priests never demand anything from their disciples to live in opulence, imitating Kshatriyas or Vaishyas. In other words, a pure Brahmana voluntarily accepts a life of poverty, very important point, and lives in complete dependence on the mercy of the Lord. Not very many years ago, a Brahmana in Krishnanagara near Navadvipa was offered some help from the local zamindar. Raja Krishnachandra, the Brahmana, refused to accept the help. He said that since he was very happy in his householder life, taking rice given by his disciples and cooking vegetables of tamarind leaves, there was no question of taking help from the zamindar. The conclusion is that although a Brahmana may receive much opulence from his disciples, he should not utilize the rewards of his priesthood for his personal benefit. He must use them for the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, very, very profound statement. Text 37. All of you are my superiors. Therefore, although accepting priesthood is sometimes reproachable, I cannot refuse even a small request from you. I agreed to be your priest. I shall fulfill your request by dedicating my life and possessions. Text 38. Sri Sukadev Goswami continued, O king, after making this promise to the demigods, the exalted Vishwarupa, surrounded by the demigods, performed the necessary priestly activities with great enthusiasm and attention. The word samadhina is very important. Samadhi means complete absorption with an undiverted mind. Vishwarupa, who was a most learned Brahmana, not only accepted the request of the demigods, but took their request seriously and performed the activities of priesthood with an undiverted mind. In other words, he accepted the priesthood not for material gain, but to profit the demigods. Such is the duty of a priest. The word pura means family, and hita means benefit. Thus, the word purohita indicates that the priest is the well-wisher of the family. Another meaning of the word pura is first. A priest's first duty is to see that his disciples benefit spiritually and materially by all means. Then he is satisfied. A priest should never be interested in performing Vedic rituals for his personal benefit. Okay, very good. Text 39. The opulence of the demigods, who are generally known as the enemies of the demigods, the opulence of the demons, who are generally known as the enemies of the demigods, was protected by the talents and tactics of Sukracharya. But Vishwarupa, who was most powerful, composed a protective prayer known as the Narayana Kavacha. By this intelligent mantra, he took away the opulence of the demons and gave it to Mahendra, the king of heaven. Ah, interesting, very interesting. The distinction between the demigods, the devas, and the demons, the asuras, is that the demigods are all devotees of Lord Vishnu, whereas the demons are devotees of demigods like Lord Shiva, Goddess Kali, and Goddess Durga. Sometimes the demons are also devotees of Lord Brahma. For example, Hiranyakashipu was a devotee of Lord Brahma. Ravana was a devotee of Lord Shiva, and Mahisasana, Manisasura was a devotee of goddess Durga. The demigods are devotees of Lord Vishnu. Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Daiva, whereas the demons, asuras, asuras tad viparyaya are always against the Vishnu Bhaktas or Vaishnavas. To oppose the Vaishnavas, the demons become devotees of Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Kali, Durga, and so on. In the days of yore, many long years ago, there was animosity between the Devas and the Asuras, and the same spirit still continues for the devotees of Lord Shiva and Goddess Durga, who are always envious of Vaishnavas, who are devotees of Lord Vishnu. This strain between the devotees of Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu has always existed in the higher planetary systems. Fights between the demons and the demigods continue for a long, long time. Herein we see that Vishwarupa made for the demigods a protective covering saturated with a Vishnu mantra. Sometimes the Vishnu mantra is called Vishnu Jwara, and the Shiva mantra is called Shiva Jwara. We find in the Shastras that sometimes the Shiva Jwara and Vishnu Jwara are employed in the fights between the demons and the demigods. The word Sura Dvisam, which in this verse means of the enemies of demigods, also refers to the atheists. Srimad Bhagavatam elsewhere says that Lord Buddha appeared for the purpose of bewildering the demons or atheists. The Supreme Personality of Godhead always awards his benediction to devotees. The Lord himself confirms this in Bhagavad Gita 9.31. Kunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranasiti. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Text 40. Vishwarupa, who was most liberal, spoke to King Indra. Sahas Raksha, the secret hymn that protected Indra and conquered the military power of the demons. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the sixth canto, seventh chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Indra Offends His Spiritual Master Brihaspati. And that's a big mistake. Okay, so now we're going to go to chapter 8. Narayana Kavacha, shield. This chapter describes how Indra, the king of heaven, was victorious over the soldiers of the demons. And it also describes the shield of the Vishnu mantra. To take protection from the shield, one must first touch kusa grass and wash one's mouth with akamana mantras. Akamana mantras. One should observe silence and then place the 8-syllable Vishnu mantra on the parts of his body and place the 12-syllable mantra on his hands. The 8-syllable mantra is Om Namo Narayanaya. This mantra should be distributed all over the front and back of the body. The 12-syllable mantra, which begins with the Pranava Omkara, is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. One syllable should be placed on each of the fingers and should be preceded by the Pranava Omkara. Thereafter, one must chant Om Vishnave Namah, which is a 6-syllable mantra. One must progressively place the syllables of the mantra on the heart, the head, between the two eyebrows, on the shika, and between the eyes, and then one should chant Ma Astraya Pat, and with this mantra protect himself from all directions. Nadevo Devam Achayet. One who has not risen to the level of a deva cannot chant this mantra. According to this direction of the Shastra, one must think himself qualified, non-different from the Supreme. After finishing this dedication, one must offer a prayer to the 8-armed Lord Vishnu, who sits on the shoulders of Garuda Deva. One also has to think of the fish incarnation, Vamana, Kurma, Nishinga, Varaha, Parasurama, Ramachandra, the elder brother of Lakshmana, Narayana, Dattatreya, an empowered incarnation, Kupila, Sanat Kumara, Hayagriva, Narada Deva, the incarnation of a devotee, Dhanvantari, Rishabhadeva, Yajna, Balarama, Vyasadeva, Buddhadeva, and Keshava. One should also think of Govinda, the master of Vrindavana. And one should think of Narayana, the master of the spiritual sky. One should think of Madhusudana and Tridharma, Madhava, Rishikesha, Padmanabha, Janardana, Damodara, Vishveswara, as well as the Lord's personal expansions, known as the Swamsa and Saka Vesha avatars. One should pray to the weapons of Lord Narayana, such as the Sudarshan, the Gada, Sankha, and Gajja, and bow. After explaining this process, Sukadeva Goswami told Maharaj Parikshit how Vishwarupa, the brother of Vritrasura, described the glories of the Natayana Kavacha to Indra. Narayana Kavacha to Indra. Text 1 and 2. King Parikshit inquired from Sukadeva Goswami, My Lord, kindly explain the Vishnu mantra armor that protected King Indra and enabled him to conquer his enemies, along with their carriers, and enjoy the opulence of the 3 worlds. Please explain to me Narayana's armor by which King Indra achieved success in battle, conquering the enemies who were endeavoring to kill him. Text number 3. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, King Indra, the leader of the demigods, inquired about the armor known as Narayana Kavacha from Vishwarupa, who was engaged by the demigods as their priest. Please hear Vishwarupa's reply with great attention. Text 4 to 6. Vishwarupa said, if some form of fear arrives, one should first wash his hands and legs clean, and then perform achamana by chanting this mantra. Om apavitra pavitro va sarvavastam gatopi va. Ya smaret pundarika sham sabaya vyayantara suchi. Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. Then one should touch Kushabha and sit gravely and silently, facing north. When completely purified, one should touch the mantra composed of 8 syllables to the 8 parts of his body, and touch the mantra composed of 12 syllables to his hands. Thus, in the following manner, he should bind himself with the Narayana coat of armor. First, while chanting the mantra composed of 8 syllables, Om Namo Narayanaaya, beginning with the pranava, the syllable Om. One should touch his hands to 8 parts of his body, starting with two feet and progressing systematically to the knees, thighs, abdomen, heart, chest, mouth, and head. Then one should chant the mantra in reverse, beginning from the last syllable Ya, while touching the parts of his body in the reverse order. These two processes are known as Utpati Nyasa and Samhara Nyasa, respectively. Text number 7. Then one should chant the mantra composed of 12 syllables. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, preceding each syllable by the Omkara. One should place the syllables of the mantra on the tips of his fingers, beginning with the index finger of the right hand and concluding with the index finger of the left. The 4 remaining syllables should be placed on the joints of the thumbs. Text 8 to 10. One must then chant the mantra of 6 syllables, Om Vishnave Namaha, and one should place the syllable Om on his heart, the syllable V on the top of his head, the syllable Sa between his eyebrows, the syllable Na on his tuft of hair or sika, and the syllable Ve between his eyes. The chanter of the mantra should then place the syllable Na on all the joints of his body and meditate on the syllable Ma as being a weapon. He should thus become the perfect personification of the mantra. Thereafter, adding Visarga, the final syllable Ma, he should chant the mantra Ma Astraya Pat in all directions, beginning from the east. In this way, all directions will be bound by the protective armor of the mantra. Text number 11. Atmanam Paramam Dhyayet Deyayam Sat Sakti Bir Gutam Vidya Tejas Tapo Murtim Imam Mantram Udaharet. After finishing this chanting, one should think himself qualitatively one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full in 6 opulences and is worthy to be meditated upon. Then one should chant the following protective prayer to Lord Narayana, the Narayana Kavacha. Om Harir Vidadhyana Vidadhyan. I'm sorry. Mama Sarva Raksham. Miyastar Hri Padam Pata Dendra Priste Darari Karmasi Gadesu Chapa Pasan Dadano Sta Guna Sta Bahu. The Supreme Lord, who sits on the back of the bird Garuda, touching him with his lotus feet, holds 8 weapons: the conch shell, disc, shield, sword, club, arrows, bow, and ropes. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead protect me at all times with his 8 arms. He is all powerful because he fully possesses the 8 mystic powers, Anima, Lagima, etc. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Thinking oneself one with the Supreme is called Ahangrahopasana. Through Ahangrahopasana, one does not become God, but he thinks of himself as qualitatively one with the Supreme. Understanding that as a spirit soul, he is equal in quality to the Supreme Soul. The way the water of a river is of the same nature as the water of the sea, one should meditate upon the Supreme Lord, as described in this verse, and seek his protection. The living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme. Consequently, their duty is to always seek the mercy of the Lord in order to be protected by him in all circumstances. Text 13. I think our time is up. Is that right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. Well, we'll just do this last
Yeah.
text 13. May the Lord, who assumes the body of a great fish, protect me in the water from the fierce animals that are associates of demigod Varuna. By expanding his illusory energy, the Lord assumed the form of the dwarf Vamana. May Vamana protect me on the land, since the gigantic form of the Lord Vishwarupa conquers the 3 worlds. May he protect me in the sky. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This mantra seeks protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the water, land, and sky, in his incarnations as the fish, Vamanadeva, and Vishwarupa. Haribol. Okay, we'll stop right there. Yeah, this is very interesting.
Narayana Kavacha and everything.
What?
It's so elaborate explanation of Narayana Kavacha and the mantras, and it's very interesting.
Yes. This is Prabhupada's mercy to give us all this knowledge. Okay, all right, well, we'll stop right there. And our takeaway for today is the text 13. May the Lord, who assumes the body of a great fish, protect me in the water from the fierce animals that are associates of the demigod Varuna. By expanding his illusory energy, the Lord assumed the form of the dwarf Vamana. May Vamana protect me on the land, Since the gigantic form of the Lord, Vishwarupa, conquers the three worlds, may he protect me in the sky. Purport. This mantra seeks the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the water, land, and sky, in his incarnations as the fish, Vamanadeva, and Vishwarupa. Hare Krishna. This is our takeaway for today. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Okay, so it says, the living entities, this is the text number 12. The living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme. Consequently, their duty is to always seek the mercy of the Lord in order to be protected by him in all circumstances. That is our takeaway for today. The duty of the living entities is to always remain subordinate to the Supreme Lord. Consequently, the duty is to always seek the mercy of the Lord in order to be protected by him in all circumstances. There it is. And then after that is in text 13 is the mantra that is for the protection of the Supreme Personality Godhead in water, land, and sky. In his incarnation as the fish, Vamanadeva, and Vishwarupa. Well, that covers all the spaces for protection. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama.
Rama.
Are there any questions or comments? So, our takeaway for today is text number 12. The Supreme Lord who sits on the back of the bird Garuda, touching him with his lotus feet, holds 8 weapons: the conch shell, disc, shield, sword, club, arrows, bows, a bow, and ropes. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead protect me at all times with his 8 arms. He is all powerful because he fully possesses the 8 mystic powers, anima, lagima, etc. And purport, thinking oneself, one with the Supreme, is called ahangrahopasana. Through ahangrahopasana, one does not become God, but he thinks of himself as qualitatively one with the Supreme, understanding that as a spirit soul, he is equal in equality to the Supreme Soul, the way the water of a river is of the same nature as the water of the sea. One should meditate upon the Supreme Lord as described in this verse and seek his protection. The living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme, and consequently, their duty is to always seek the mercy of the Lord in order to be protected by him in all circumstances. Okay, that is our takeaway for today. Consequently, the duty of the living entities who are always subordinate to the Supreme Lord is to always seek the mercy of the Lord in order to be protected by him in all circumstances. Haribol. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. How do you get that? How do you get the mercy of the Lord so that one is protected by him in all circumstances? Chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra always. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now you are always chanting the holy mantra, Hare Krishna. That will free you from all situations of misery and help you to go back to the spiritual world, to Vaikuntha, by chanting every day the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You'll feel very light. All the heaviness of material life goes away. And with that material and happiness life, you can go to the spiritual world by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and offering respect to Lord Krishna and also taking part in Mahaprasad. These are simple things, but they're very essential for making spiritual advancement. Okay, thank you very much, my dear devotees. Please chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Have nice prasadam and chant the glories of Krishna, the Hare Krishna mantra. That's all you have to do. Okay, thank you very much. I think we'll stop right there and continue later on. Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Okay, our takeaway for today. The living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme. Consequently, their duty is to always seek the mercy of the Lord in order to be protected by Him in all circumstances. There it is. That is our takeaway for today. The living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme. Consequently, their duty is to always seek the mercy of the Lord in order to be protected by Him in all circumstances. Haribol. Thank you very much, my dear devotees. We'll stop right there for the time being. If there are any questions or comments, you can make them right now. You can do them right now. Okay, no questions, no answers. And we will stop here on Canto 6, Chapter 8, text number 13, and pick it up from there tomorrow. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is so wonderful. All goals that you want to achieve can be achieved simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Obviously, the goals that we want to achieve should be to be always engaged in devotional service. We shouldn't have any other goal. We should always be seeking devotional service and helping others also engage in devotional service. Hare Krishna. Okay, well, we'll stop right there then.